I suggest, show us what the church might look like, what a Christian looks like in such times. Indeed, what a human response looks like in an inhuman world. An amazing gift. Dan knows by heart that God does not bless war, justify war, or create war. He points to a nonviolent Jesus who blesses peacemakers, not war makers, who calls us to love enemies, not kill them, who commands us to take up the cross of nonviolent resistance to empire, not put others on the cross. From the days of the war on communism to the even darker days of the war on terror, from Nixon's doctrine of mutually assured destruction to Bush's surge in Iraq, Dan has kept vigilant. Across these tortured decades, against the odds, Dan has steadfastly said no to war, empire, and nuclear weapons. Through his poetry, books, retreats, and talks, indeed by his very life, he has offered an affirming yes to the God of life and peace. Dan's genius is the combination of the two. You can't have one without the other, as many attempt to do. This collection includes selections from his poems, journals, seminal essays on peace work and resistance, and groundbreaking scripture commentaries. I culled these essential writings from his 50 books and countless articles and poems, and from the massive archives of letters and original manuscripts at Cornell University Library. I placed these selections by and large in chronological order to show how his thought and spirit evolved as his peacemaking path unfolded. To my mind, Dan's writings are best understood as the fruit of his nonviolent actions and resistance, and as such they stand within the tradition of resistance literature. But more, they join a legacy of spiritual writing that stretches from the Acts of the Apostles and the letters of St. Paul, through the poetry of St. Francis to the sermons of Archbishop Romero and Dr. King. Dan's writings fit in both categories, as resistance literature and spiritual writing. For Daniel Berrigan, they are one and the same. All spiritual writing is political, for it resists the culture of war and injustice by its very nature. All political writing for peace and justice is therefore quintessentially spiritual, for it points us toward the reign of God. This, I suggest, is the mark of a true spiritual master. In this introduction, I shall review the facts of Dan's life and then look at his message from three angles: as a poet of peace, a prophet of peace, and a peacemaker at work in the belly of the American empire. These remarks are offered as a way of preparing us to read Dan's words in a prayerful, reflective manner, so that we might understand his message, take it to heart, and deepen our own journey toward the God of peace and a new world of peace. A life of peace in a world of war. As a member of the Society of Jesus, Dan lives the Jesuit mission to promote a universal faith that serves those in need, points others to the peacemaking Christ, and welcomes God's reign of peace on earth here and now with all its glorious social, economic, and political implications. He has tried many avenues to spread the gospel of peace, from his poetry and books, to his retreats and lectures, to his civil disobedience and periodic imprisonments. A prize-winning poet, an acclaimed Broadway playwright, a best-selling memoirist, a theologian, a professor, an actor, a social critic, a radical resistor, a fugitive, an ex-con, a Nobel Peace Prize nominee, and, in the words of Amy Goodman of Democracy Now!, a national treasure, Dan remains a beacon of hope to peace-loving people everywhere. By the late 1960s and 1970s, Dan's deeds were featured regularly on the front page of the New York Times. He even appeared on the cover of Time magazine. His actions were followed, monitored, and debated by people everywhere. But what the media and the masses missed was the spiritual commitment underlying his witness. It is that spiritual base